All right, let's get back into it. So I made a couple of changes, and let's just run it to see. So after looking at the assets, it turns out that these are the only characters that we actually have animations for. So what I also did was to filter out those that, so I filtered out those we don't have animations for, and then I also made some code to actually load the entities, which is like the animations and the health and so on. So now if we kind of load them, then you can see they're here, and they're kind of animated. They're jumping like up and down and whatnot. You can attack them, and everything is great. Now, but as you can see, they are quite boring. So I make a couple, and well, two of them do something, but the rest they don't do anything. And what the two active enemies are doing is also kind of boring. They're just moving one is moving back and forth, and one is moving like around in a square. So I thought we should try to do some kind of like some AI in this video. And if we go to the game loop, that's not how to spell game loop, so there it is, game loop. Here we are updating the entities. There's also this one, which is causing the behavior of the two of the enemies. So if I make a bunch of enemies and then I go here, now you can see none of them are active. So it's this update entities. So let's have a look at that. Actually, can I do something like this? Where is the definition? Here's the definition. So what happens here? So we loop over all the entities, we update the entity, and this update function is, if I'm not mistaken, that's just moving the entity. So it's assumed it has like correct velocity and stuff like that. So we move the entity, check for collisions, all that stuff, and then if the entity has a health that is less than 0, we mark it as dead. Then we are also doing something here, which is we're looking at the attacks that the entity has, and basically so what is an attack? Maybe we should talk about that. I don't think I talked about that in a video. So here's an attack. It has an entity ID, which is whatever creature made that attack. Right now only the player can make attacks on entities, but I also want to add friendly summons, friendly minions, and they will also need to do attacks. So there's a damage, and there's the time the attack was made, and then there's this is active flag. So if we go back here, if the attack is active, then first we deactivate it, and then we insert it into a dictionary. Don't worry about this name, that is from my horrible way of doing generics in C, which we might swap out for the STB hash table instead of my own hash table, but we'll look at that. It works. So we're inserting, basically replacing the old attack with an inactive attack, and then we're also subtracting health from the entity. And then after a certain delay, we actually remove that attack. The reason for having the attack for a certain amount of time is that you cannot just spam attacks. There's like a delay before an attack can become active again. It's kind of a system I decided to make. Maybe we'll change that and like just yeah, I have to think about that. So, but that's how we have it now. Okay. So anyway, actually, I think we should change this. It's kind of having a weird. It will have a weird behavior. So you'll be, if you have a. So this only is actually for minions. So if a minion will, kind of like a. Well, no, it's also the player attacks. But anyway, you. No, actually, I think it's fine anyway. Let's move on. So what this does is just you cannot attack the same entity multiple times. Right. And the reason why you need that is because there will be multiple frames of overlap between the attack and the entity, and per attack. So you do one, you press spacebar once to do an attack, and then there'll be multiple frames of overlap, and you only want one of those frames to count. Okay, so there's that. Then we see which attacks are quite old, and we remove them here. And then we check for a collision between the player and the enemy. And if there is a collision and the player is not invincible, then we subtract some health. So the player is actually invincible for a short period, and that invincibility is handled somewhere else, and it's currently 200 milliseconds. We might want to change this system to also use this attack registration system with a hash table that stores attacks from certain entities and so on. But for now, it's like this. So let's add a to-do. Do maybe use attack registration system instead of let's call it entity global timer. Okay, so that is the update entities now, but actually let's also add some AI. Move towards player and move those. So how should we do that? Well, we can do it like this. If the entity is sort of like to the left of the player, we add some velocity. If the entity is to the right of the player, we add some negative velocity. And what is this? What is the units of this velocity? That should be number of tiles per second. So let's try to run it. You can see now they kind of like move towards me, and it's quite slow, but maybe that's all right. Now you also saw a problem here that when they reach the player's position, they kind of like do some kind of a dance. So we need some kind of let's call it float. I really cannot come up with a good name, so let's call it distance threshold. It should be in units of the units of tiles. So let's do distance threshold, and let's see if that kind of works. So now it will move close, but not too close. And we can even make it smaller, because it was quite noticeable that it didn't go all the way. Still kind of noticeable, at least when you have two, but yeah, there it is. Now this was only for X, so why don't we repeat it for Y? We can do it like this. Now you see they move towards me, and because they're colliding, the player starts to take damage, which is more easily seen if we run it like this. You can see here there is some damage being taken. So now it's actually kind of like kind of difficult. You can see I almost immediately lost some health. We can go in here and we can add some enemies, and You see they all move towards me, and it's actually quite difficult to avoid taking damage. But anyway, that's the super basic AI. We need to do something else though, which is normalize the velocity. So we can just do like that. Now it will move at the same speed regardless of where I am. Okay, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Now we almost have a game, so let me try something. Right, I also added some other features of the editor, which is that I added this paint mode. So I can just hold down right click and then it will paint a lot. You can see it's quite boring because it's using the same tile, but that's an optimization we'll do later. You can also remove tiles, I thought, but clearly there was some kind of mistake. So it should be down here in the, let me zoom out a bit. So this is the paint handler. We need to do something to do handle collision boxes. And then there was something here where if I did control, maybe you just need to be a little bit careful. No, still. Okay, so I paint some stuff, paint, and then I do control, click, left click, and it doesn't work. What if I do like this? Then it works. So I bet there's some kind of weird stuff happening here. I can click like that. No. What just happened? So, So that works, but if I make one and then click over here, there's a sigfold. Interesting. Very interesting. So what is happening? It looks like, I guess we need to run with debugger on. So let's place a couple of tiles and then I click. Now that's also weird. Okay, so somehow if editor but we are checking for equality here, and then it's only in that case that we should remove something. That's so weird. Okay, so let's go over it. So I start at the end. It's just moving the last, the last tile that's placed on that square should be what's happening. So if the last tile is placed at this X and Y that we're at now, then we start from I and we move the next one down. So effectively moving everything down one. And then we say one less tile. Then we break. So let me run GDB again. Okay. So let me print editor. Okay. Print editor in tiles is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's correct. And what's X? Can I print X? Print Y. And what happens if I print editor tile placements? Sorry, not I, but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should all be correct. It's probably something super obvious. So it says segfault. And what is I? For some reason I is a very large number. That's clearly... Oh, I see the problem. I see the problem. We have to go down. We have to go down. So I wonder if I have that somewhere else. Let's do I equals, let's not do that. Let's do all for loops. And no, that should also be okay. That's the one fixed. That's also going up. That's fine. It's going up, fine. It's also going up. Okay. I think that was it. Okay, I think I've been through everything. Let's see if it now works. So I can do this and then I can click anywhere. Great. And let's reset. So now I can draw a bunch of things very fast. I can put some bones here, but then I can decide, okay, actually I didn't want the bone. And it will remove the bones and not the floor. Unless I click again, then it will remove the floor. Okay. Pretty good. So now we can try to kind of make a little, well, let's also, because when we paint, it doesn't include the collision boxes, so that's pretty annoying. So let's add that. So here is the paint thingy, and we'll say if editor, there's like this collision box selected, And then we say check if there already is a collision box. If there is, don't add a new one. So if we have a collision box at this X and Y, we say it's fine, don't do anything. So, however, if not collision box exists, we add one at that location. Let's try that. So I enable collision boxes and then we draw. Great. Let me do like this and then zoom out a bit. Okay. Let's try to make a small level, and let's make the floor first. This is very, very interesting content, I know. So maybe we also want some kind of like rectangle tool in the future, but that is definitely in the future. So here we go, we draw some stuff. Let's draw a wall on the other side. Let's get these side walls in. Oops, what just happened? This one and some top walls. And some bottom walls. Okay, so now we have the basic level. Let's go here. We can run around. Can I zoom here? I cannot zoom here, but that's fine. Actually, we should add the ability to zoom in the main level because I want to test something. So let's go here and look at the zoom, which is this stuff. And that's changing the game state directly. So what we can do is we can actually take it over here and just have it as like controls valid in any state, or let's call it mode. Here it is unfortunately called game state instead of just state, so we'll do like that. All right, so that didn't work because the game state here is not by pointer. Let me just, okay, that didn't work. Let me, okay, whatever. So we're here now and I can zoom. Great, can zoom, zoom, zoom. Now let's try to make this level again. Okay, so here's the level and let's put the starting location to be here in the corner. Let's transfer that and let's go. And we restart, we're inside. So now I kind of want to time it. So let's say 0, 1, 2. So almost 2 seconds. So let's try to zoom out quite a bit. And let's say 0, 1, 2. Okay, so thankfully I did everything correct. So this speed is kind of independent of the zoom level. So 0, 1, 2. Okay, still 2 seconds. Nice. Let's edit this level now. And it's going to be a very great level. It's going to have some close enemies, and you'll also notice that all the enemies are moving at the same speed. That is probably something will change. They also have the same health and so on, but you know, one thing at a time. So here we have another level, and I don't know why. Now we can really nice. And we should actually stop updating and stop drawing things that are dead. I think that's a good idea. I don't know, maybe we just keep it for now. But once we get a lot of things, it's probably a bit annoying. Let's remove it. So let's let's do a little bit of a commit first, actually. So here we have the AI stuff. Let's do the AI commit, and this is also technically in the AI commit, so I want to go here and just remove that. Remove that. So we're going to say part 10, add simple enemy AI. Now, let's do this one. Part 10, zoom in any mode. And finally, this guy, part 10, fix tile indexing bug, and then this one, part 10, add collision boxes in paint mode. Okay, so that's a couple of things we did. Now what was I saying? So let's stop updating entities that are dead. That's a good thing to do. So here we go, update entities, and honestly just, this is also wrong, I think. But anyway, so let's put it here, and let's say if the entity is already marked as dead, then we just continue. If the health is less than 0, then we mark it as dead. We also make a note of that, because my idea was this will be used to initiate a cleanup. Because as the level progresses, if we like spawn in enemies and so on, at some point there will be a lot of dead entities, which is basically like trash data, and then we might want to clean that up. Okay, so now what should happen is that when I kill them, they stop updating. So the collision boxes are just static, as you can see. Before they were moving. And once they are dead, we also want to go in here into to the entities, and here we are drawing the collision boxes in the debug mode. So if entity is dead, we continue. So now, now if I kill them, you can see not even the collision boxes are drawn. That's exactly what we want. All right, let's do a little bit of a commit on that. Part 10, don't update or draw collision boxes for dead entities. Okay. What else? What else? I think we can do just one more thing. And perhaps that should be spawning in enemies. Now, how would we do that in general? How would we do that? I think we would need... Actually, let's just think about the design first, and maybe we will do it in another video. So if we have a level like this, and it also has some collision stuff, collision stuff, collision stuff, and collision stuff. The player is like basically in here, and there's some enemies. How do we spawn new enemies? Because we cannot spawn it on top of the player, that's a bit unfair. And we cannot just spawn them in a random location, because they might be stuck inside a wall, or they might like be outside the game area. So perhaps we'll need something like spawn point, so you can place down a spawn point. And that'll be like this circle, it'll not be something you see necessarily, but maybe we actually don't want to do that. Maybe we want to have it be be something that happens around specific tiles or something. So I don't know, we'll see about that. So maybe we won't do that in this video. Something else we could do is, let me remove a couple of, let me remove a couple of collision boxes, and then actually I need to select a tile, and then I should be able to remove them. So let's say we have like a double door here. It's like this. Ta-da. Actually, that's probably not. Maybe it should be like kind of finding it hard to see how I should pass this. Okay, I guess it's like this. Actually, we need a floor underneath, otherwise, and also that's wrong. We don't want this. So floor. That was also wrong. Okay, there we go. And I have to add the floor back. Then I have to add the door back. Okay, so something like this. Now let's restart, and then I kill the minions, and okay, fine. I'm finished in this room, and I want to go out, but there's no way to actually exit. So we need to make objects interactable. Let's try to tackle that. So these things are stored as tiles. So that means that a tile has to be potentially interactable, and that means it has to potentially have a number of states. So that means, okay, that's also a larger thing, but let's just sketch it out. That means we will need a tile struct, which will have tile ID. It will have, actually it will have multiple tile IDs. So it will have something like this. It will have a number of tiles, let's call it number of versions. And it will have active version, and it will also have some way to decide what is the next version of the tile. So let me go here again and let's see, what do we have? So we have some chests. They definitely need to be interactable, like you go up to it and you open it. We don't really have an open chest. Maybe I'll try to make that on my own. An open chest sprite. And the door, it has to go from this one to like one of these. Yeah. Okay. But how do we do that? So I think we can get away with so let's assume we have like a tile ID 1, tile ID 2. There's always only 2 versions, and we'll have active tile ID. Let's call it active version. And we also need a location. So let's call it X and Y. then we need some kind of like stuff to run. So maybe we'll do something like this, and we'll call it, it should be some kind of function pointer, so it should be like a void I completely don't know how to do. Maybe it is like this. So it should take actually a tile pointer, and then that should be a tile update function. And here we need a tile update function that is this. And maybe do I need a pointer here? Okay, so there's this webpage cdecal.org, which translates between these weird types of C to English. So declare foo as pointer to function returning void. Right, so we need something like that. I think you just do something like this. So yeah, tile update function, and then we'll get the pointer to the tile. And I don't know how to put in arguments here, but let's say void foo it. Okay, declare foo as pointer to function of int, returning void, and maybe we can do something like this. And one of them can be a pointer. Okay, great. So this is how you do it, and then we have the update function here. And whenever you interact with it, this update function will be run on the tile itself. So an example would be, can I do something like this? Tile update function flip version, and it will just take a tile and it will do this. Can that compile? It cannot compile. Tab void. Maybe it's like that. Okay, so yeah, I think one problem is this thing relies on tile being defined, and tile relies on that thing being defined. So this is not going to work. Maybe we can do like something like this, and then we can just say yeah, but we still need to say there's like a so maybe we have to like avoid it, and then yeah, that's a little bit annoying. That is a little bit annoying. But then here I can say tile update function. We're gonna call it a flip version, and that should be fine. Let's try to make a tile test, and it's gonna be something like this. And will that compile? It will not compile. And it's basically because we don't need this stuff. And I thought that was all. Flip version. Right, and then I have to declare that down here, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, so now that seems to be working. But the problem is when I call it through, well, I don't know. So maybe that kind of works. Let's keep this test code here for now. And let's do a little bit of a commit on that. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a better way. Maybe let's try a final thing. So we can do this. Then we can say that, okay, update function is actually a pointer to a function that takes something like this. And then this thing is unused, and that did not work because field update function. Okay. Yeah, that didn't work. So I'm gonna keep it like this, and that compiles. So let's commit it, and let's say that we are done for today. So part 10, tile updating, let's call it sketch. All right, that's gonna do it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.